In this video I'm going to look at making a population pyramid in Excel, and this is using data which has already been summarized for us. So it's not raw data, it's summary data, and it's a nice little exercise to go through because it takes us through a lot of the different aspects of Excel that are good to become familiar with. So this is what we're aiming for, and we're going to start fresh in the island by getting our data first. Now last year the data about the population age structure was in the town hall, and that's now been moved to the bureau. So rather than the town hall, just scroll down in your town and you're after the bureau. And we've got a new tab for employment, which I haven't really looked at much yet, so we might save that for another day. I'm interested in the demography, and we've got the age groups here and the males and females in each group. So just select all of this with your mouse and then Control C or copy. And I'm going to start fresh in Excel, so I'll start a new sheet and Control V or paste. It's thinking. Okay, so that took a little longer than expected. Okay, so when the data is already summarized, it's fairly simple to do a graph in Excel. Just go to the Insert tab and leave that all selected for the moment. It's easier if you just leave it there. You can go through the recommended charts, or if you know what you're looking for, just pull down what you want. Now often I do bar charts vertically, and you see you get a nice little preview. So if you keep the data selected, then when you hover over these you can get an idea of what they're going to look like. Because I want to do a population pyramid, I'm actually going to go down to one of these horizontal charts rather than a vertical one. Stay away from the 3D ones. I don't think they're very useful and they tend to be misleading. I prefer just the flat 2D charts. So this is our basic chart. Click on that and then we can make that bigger. So we will start looking at what we can do with these charts. So problems first. Well, we've got the total in there and we probably don't want the total as a part of our graph. Now while the graph is selected, you can see that the data is also selected. We can actually just grab this and shorten it by 1, and that will fix it up for us. Now the next thing is that we've got these bars stacked on top of each other, and you might like it like this, and if that's what you would like to do, then you can certainly keep that. Traditionally with a population pyramid we have a center line and then we have male going in one direction and female in the other. So let's have a go at doing that. Now in order to make it reverse one of the axes, what we actually need to do is reverse some of the data first. So if we create a new column, and we'll call it female as well, and we want it to be the same as the previous column except that we want it to be negative so that it goes in the other direction. Now whenever we type a formula into Excel we have to start it off with the equals so that it knows it's going to calculate something, and we're going to say that we want it to be equal to the previous column except we want it to be negative. So put in a negative sign and then just select the cell next to it, 105. Then when you press enter it should be negative 105. Now we don't have to type that in for every cell. Once you've got the formula the way you want it, if you double click on that little square in the bottom right hand corner of the cell, it will go ahead and pop that in for the rest of the column until it detects a break, and then it will stop. You can also click on this square and drag that down as well. So if I just undo that, I can grab that and drag it down. Now if you want to check what's in the formula, in this case it's very simple and we can see that it's done it correctly, but if in the future you've got something a little bit more complicated and you want to check what's in it, if you select it you'll see that up the top it says it's doing is equal to negative C8, this cell here, so it tells you what it's doing. So now we've got our column and we want this chart to use this column. So again, we can just grab the data and it will now include it. So this is looking closer to what we want. The only problem now, of course, is we've got 2 columns for the female data and we only want the second one. Over to the right hand side of the chart, there is a little icon that looks a bit like a funnel. It says chart filters. If you click on that, and you can just untick the first female option because we don't want that one, and then click apply, and now we've got our 2 age groups, genders with the age groups. So there's still a little bit of formatting we need to do on this chart. We've got the labels here which are in the middle, which is not convenient, and our charts, our bars are completely offset and we'd probably like them to match up. So if we first select the axis labels, then we should get some options over to the right hand side. Now if these are not showing up for you, if I just close that off, you can get through options here, but sometimes if you just double click on the chart on something, it'll pop up on the right hand side. So what we want to do, labels, let's have a look. Under labels it says label position and next to the axis, so that's next to the y-axis going straight up and down, and what we actually want it to do is put it all the way over here. So if we twizzle that down and go to low, that would mean on the left hand side. Alternatively, I guess you could put it high and put it on the other side, or if you really wanted to, you could take it off altogether and pop it in by hand doing something else. But I'm just going to keep it low for the moment. So that's looking a little bit better. Now these bars, we don't want them offset like that. So if you select one of the bars, you should get on the side this series options, and this is under the little icon that looks a bit like a histogram. Now it says it's not overlapping at all, 0%, and that's not what we want. We actually want it to overlap 100%, so just put in 100 there. And then for the gap width, you can keep that gap, but actually I think in this case, because 0 to 9 should actually link straight on to 10 to 19, we can probably take that gap out and make that nice and fat. So this is looking better. We seem to have a lot more female children than male children. Now what we might want to do is change the colours of these. So if we select on the grey for the female data series, and then we look at the paint bucket option, fill and line, we can change that colour to something else. We can change that to green. We could also put a border around it if we feel that it's merging in too much to each other. I might just go simple and keep that black. If I do it for one, I should probably do it for the other. So I'll make that black as well. So this is looking good. So this would be the number of females and males in each of these age categories. Now clearly we don't have negative 50 or negative 100 people in a category, so we really need this to be fixed up. If we click on that, this is the x-axis, and we're going to want to go to the axis options. And we're looking at the number format in this case, and it's set automatically just to this general number format, and actually what we want to do is customize this because we want to take out the negative sign. So I'm going to go to custom, then in here under format code, it's a little bit hard to see, but it's this little negative sign here, and we're just going to take that out so that it goes positive on both sides, and click add. And that's looking fine now. So the only thing left really is to fix up this chart title, which we can just double click on. And we can type something in there. So that is making a basic chart in Excel and doing a quick formula and looking through some of the formatting options for the axes and the bars.